Well, the weekend is on. So today we're going to be doing mostly just three reviews for today. The first one's going to be the latest ChocoPro event 267. I believe we have three matches, and of course, this particular day is to celebrate two of their very own, Sayaka and Tokiko Kirihara's birthday. So, happy birthday, ladies, and hopefully, you guys enjoy your matches. And of course, we cannot forget New Japan Strong with Showdown with a very interesting matchup. Minoru Suzuki takes on the Savage Weight Fred Yehi, and I hope Fred Yehi knows what he's doing because you don't want to mess around with the king. And then finally, we got the latest NWA pay per view, Hard Times 3. As you know, they head to New Orleans. A lot of championship matches, some interesting matches that will be taking place. And of course, we got some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome, everybody, to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with ChocoPro 267. As I mentioned before, they celebrated the birthday of two of their very own, Sayaka and um, what's her name, Tokiko Kirihara. So they celebrated their birthdays well, but they have to go through their matches. Now, Sayaka, on the other hand, teamed up with fellow fourth generation teammate Chiko Shikawa to take on Shin Suzuki and Sawadi Kamen. Now, you probably would have imagined this would have been a perfect opportunity for Sayaka to pick up a good win since it's her birthday. Normally, things like that would happen, but however, in this case, they put up a good fight, but it was Sawada Kamen that picked up the win when he applied the diving body splash and 1, 2, 3, giving them the win. Now, our second match, we have another tag team action. We got Miya Yotsuba teaming up with Sayaka Obihiro to take on Cherry and Masahiro Takanashi. Now, this was also another interesting matchup. Now, in recent times, I have seen how Mia and Cherry have come across each other diagonally in on a certain occasion. I think this is like one of those moments where we could see Mia face Cherry multiple times. So it took a while, but however, I think the match was focusing more on what Cherry and Mia can do together as opponents. But it kind of fits in there. But however, it was Cherry who picked up the win. So that's one. Now our next match, these two are tag team partners, but they are their opponents. But of course, this is Tokiko Kirihara's birthday, so she faces Antonio Honda. Now you know, if you guys don't know Antonio Honda how he is, then you guys are missing out. He will do anything to figure out a win, but that kind of fits it into a perfect way. Now I know Tokiko is a strong wrestler. She does have a bit of the striking technique in her arsenal, but that did not apply too much with her until Antonio Honda applied himself the silencer, giving him the win, forcing Tokiko to tap out. Now, our Jonkin tournament, this was a very, very interesting matchup. I wasn't sure who was, but I was very surprised how this one goes in. If you guys want to know who won, I'll tell you. It was Miya Yotsuba. Basically, this is our maybe second or third time that she won ever since she debuted. So that's kind of interesting to hear about her, that she's just, you know, now winning jockeying tournaments. So that's kind of strange. But yes. Now I think that's pretty much it. But a friendly reminder: we do have a ChocoPro show in the UK, which Chris Brooks will be involved, and I forgot who else is going to be there. But I'm looking forward to it because, as you know, we have seen ChocoPro in Thailand. We haven't seen ChocoPro USA yet. We only seen the Jonkins, but not the actual matches. That's something we definitely got to see in the near future. But right now, I say we end it right here and move on with New Japan Strong. Okay, we're in week 2 of New Japan Strong Showdown. Opened up with Chi Cabrera, who we have seen many times, has been very impressive, and he takes on the debut of Kenny King. If you guys aren't familiarized with him, those who do, then you guys know who he is. Those who don't, Kenny King has been around the block for a long time. He's been in Ring of Honor. Currently, he's right now in Impact Wrestling. So it's great to see him there. I think this is his first time being there. But I have to say, this match was pretty good. I think I liked what exactly. If you guys ever seen Kenny King, he has some unorthodox moves that could help out. But however, you got a guy like Chikabria, who is a bit of a powerhouse in some ways in this match. But would that be enough to take him down? But I have to say, this match was pretty impressive. I mean, going back and forth. But however, Kenny King was able to apply the Royal Flush and giving himself his first win in a New Japan's ring. Now, our next match, we have Team Filthy's Danny Limelight and JR Kratos taking on Jordan Cruz and Adrian Quest. Now, Limelight and Kratos are trying to get back themselves onto the tag team contingency. Now, if you guys remember, they felt that they should have been the first strong openweight champions. This is when Aussie Open was still champions. But however, this one, as you know, uh, we could see that very time. But I have to say, there was some great moments with Cruz, what he did. I've seen the guy many times. Adrian Quest, as you know, he still sells that some unresolved issues towards Limelight for betraying him and all that stuff. And I think that shows us, But however, I think the focus in this is Team Filthy looking for a way to get back on the high horse and win the match and bring attention to the Morrison Machine Guns, our current strong openweight tag team champions. But it was, of course, Danny Limelight with the Borica Destroyer that sealed the deal when he applied it onto, I believe he did that to Cruz, and it was over right there. So if I was the Motor City Machine Guns, I'd be paying attention to these two one way or the other. Now, Bullet Club, as you know, set out a video package where they have some stuff on their minds. Bay and El Fantasmo. It seems like they have a match they'll be dealing with in due time against Blake Christian and Alex Zane. So that, as you know, Bullet Club hasn't forgotten what they did with Alex Zane ever since Ace Austin turned on him and joined them. But as for Juice Robinson, it seems he has his eye out on Jake something to show him that he is nothing, that sort of thing. But we'll see when that day happens. Now our main event. This is the one we've been expecting. Fred Yehi, aka the Savage Weight, takes on the King, Minoru Suzuki. Now, you know Suzuki how he is. This guy is a freaking killer. You know with those eyes he will try to stomp you down no matter what it takes. Now, Fred Yehi, he has some good moments where he did have Suzuki Goon right where he wanted, but come on, Suzuki is a savage. You know that he's gonna find ways around it. He is not an idiot, so he's no slouch as Fred Yehi would believe. But it took a bit of time for Minoru Suzuki to find his way until he applied the chokehold, and then the infamous got style pile driver. 1, 2, 3. It's over. So um, Suzuki picked up a good win. So Savage, wait, well, you're off the list. That sort of thing. So I think that's pretty much well. So we don't know what's going to happen for next week, but we will see. I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on to our final review, NWA Hard Times 3. Okay, NWA hard times 3. They're back in New Orleans. Now, normally we don't do the kickoff shows as we normally do, but here I decided to do it because certain important matches did take place. Our first one we have, of course, is for the number one contendership for the NWA World Television title. Now, keep in mind that the winner of that match will take place a little later during the pre-show. It was between Nims and Anthony Andrews. I thought this match was pretty solid as an opener for the pre-show, but a lot of powerhouse on this one. But it took Mims a lot of strength to apply the big side slam onto Anthony Andrews to become the number one contender. But however, his opponent he won't know until we see who later on. It would be between Jordan Clearwater and AJ Kanza. Now, our next match, this is for the Wildcats Sports Tag Team titles, a promotion based out of New Orleans. We have the Miserable Faithful, Gags the Gimp, and Sal the Pal taking on Slime Season, Jay Spade, and Budaku. There, I have to say, I haven't seen Budaku for a long time, but it's great to see him. I thought this match was pretty great, but however, the unnecessary tactics by Sal Renauer, you know how that's going to play out, but it did not stop Slime Season in order to pick up the win. They pulled off a very impressive match when they were able to isolate Gags the Gimp, and Sal Renauer was the one who picked up the fall, was the one who took the fall, and allowing for I think Jay Spade to apply a landslide. 1, 2, 3, they retain the titles. Now we do get an interview with May Valentine with Tom Latimer. As you know, Tom is can't wait to get his hands on EC3, who's been manipulative, trying to get into his head, saying that he's better off doing away from what he's doing. But Latimer is not having it, so he's not going to listen to his BS in some ways. Now our next match is a hardcore team war match. We have Jack Stain, Mercurio. Originally, we were supposed to have Magic Jake Dumas, but he was replaced by Alex Taylor. They take on Anthony Mayweather, JTG, and the Pope. Now, Dane is still refuses to let go of the fact that Mayweather beaten him already. It looks like it's not done. Not to mention he attacked him, but they were able to try to eliminate both JTG and what's his name, the Pope. But it's the last two. It was Jack Stain and Anthony Mayweather. But that weasel of attorney Chris Silvio tried to get involved, but he got stomped. But however, it took a Death Valley driver onto the chair by Anthony Mayweather, put away Jack Stain to pick up the win. But you can tell like Jack Stain doesn't want this to end, but Mayweather does. Now, our next interview, we have the Cardonas with May Valentine. The Cardonas, as you know, they continue to play that they are the saviors of the NWA, and that one way or the other, Matt Cardona will regain the title that he never lost, the 10 pounds of gold, the NWA World Heavyweight title. As for Chelsea Green, she will finally obtain the one belt that she felt that she earned, that it belongs to her, which is the Burke. But we'll see what happens because both matches will be side by side as a semi-main event and a main event. Now our match, the NWA World Television title, which is vacant. We have Jordan Clearwater and AJ Kanza. This was a very interesting match because normally with Jordan Clearwater coming out, he normally has Black G's by his side. But this time he went on alone. He really picked up a good one. But it was, of course, the Midas touch by Clearwater to pick up the win and become our brand new NWA World Television champion. So we don't know when will he face off Midas for this title, but it will probably be sooner than we expect. Now let's jump into the main card. It opened up with the Voodoo Queen Coffin match between Natalia Markova and Maxine Paler. Now this was a match that was stipulated by Father James Mitchell. This was a much brutal match that Natalia Markova has ever been in. Now, she would have won if it wasn't for the numbers game by the Miserable Faithful, and if it wasn't for Sal Renauer, who in fact was in a damn coffin, costing Markova to win, but it was Maxine Paler that picked up the win in the first place. Now our next match is the NWA National, no, the MLW National Openweight title between Kobe Carino and the American Wolf, Davey Richards. Pretty good match. I was impressed with Kobe Carino. Basically, you are dealing with not a slouch like Davey Richards. You know who Davey Richards is. He is the kind of guy who will dissect you no matter what. But that's what he does. But it took at least an ankle lock, I believe, that put away Carino, forcing him to tap out. So pretty impressive. Now our next match is a mask versus mask between the question mark, who we all know who that is, Rodney Mack, alongside with Aaron Stevens taking on question mark 2, being accompanied by JR Kratos. But once again, Stevens decided to play the little card where Kratos doesn't have a mandatory license, so he was thrown out. But we all knew that that was Stevens' way to ensure that his question mark wins. But however, it did not happen. Kratos show up for a helping hand, but it took at least the Mongolian spike by question mark 2 to take down the fake question mark and all that, but it did allow for him to pick up the win. As for question mark, he refuses to take off the mask, but his face was covered with a towel. So we'll see what happens in the upcoming weeks with this. Now our next match is the MLW Junior Heavyweight title between Kerry Morton and Homicide. Now this is a title that Kerry Morton has been desiring to obtain due to the fact that his dad was the Junior Heavyweight Champion before him. I thought it was a pretty good match, but however, Homicide would do anything in his power to ensure by retaining the style. He cut corners. He even attacked Ricky Morton in order to send a message, but it did not stop Kerry for the objective to pick up the win. But it took only one of Homicide's moves against him by Kerry Morton, the Koji Cutter. 1, 2, 3. We have a brand new Junior Heavyweight Champion. Now, our next match. This was supposed to be Odison and Nick Aldis, but we all know what's been going on. Apparently, Thrillbilly Silas decided to step up to the plate, but without Poyo Damar. So I thought it was a pretty good, interesting matchup where Thrillbilly stepped up to the plate. But the real question is, can he beat Odison? That's the obvious thing. But it took a bit of a while for Thrillbilly Silas to pick up the win until he applied the throw ride. 1, 2, 3. It was over right from there. Now our next match is the NWA USA Tag Team titles between challengers the Spectaculars, Brady Pierce and Russ Freeman, along with Rolando, taking on the Fixers, Wrecking Ball Gursky and Jay Bradley. I thought it was a really interesting match, but I can tell the desperation with the Fixers are determined to keep these titles as they are. As you know, last time we saw that, what's his name? William Patrick Corgan wanted to get a brand new titles for these guys, but they refused due to the fact there's the red, white, and blue and the names in the Sharpie. So that kind of sets the tone on that. But it took at least a double choke slam onto Jay Bradley to allow them to win the match. Now our next interview, Trevor Murdoch, as you know, he is not a slouch. He knows what he's stepping up to. He knows he has two competitors he needs to contend, and that is Trevor Murdoch and Matt Cardona. So we'll see what happens then. Our next match is the National Heavyweight Championship between Dak Draper and Zahn. I have to say Zahn really stepped up a little bit more of his game for what he does. As you know, he is trying to do what he can to keep his father proud, as knowing that he's carrying a title that he's carried before. But it took at least the Death Valley driver onto Dak Draper to seal the deal for Zion to pick up the win. Now our next match is the NWA Women's Tag Team titles. This was a match that was set between when Misa Kate and Maddie won in a non-title match. I thought this match was pretty interesting, but however, there was a bit of a misled where Misa Kate accidentally swinged, I forgot who it was, to Maddie. Maddie took things personally, decided to abandon Misa Kate on her own. So we'll see what happens then for that. But it took at least a bit of teamwork by and Pretty Empower, Ella Envy, and Kenzie Page to retain the titles. Now our next match we have EC3 versus Tom Latimer. Latimer once again EC3 crossed the line by saying things about Latimer's wife, Camille, and I think that's not something, but he was disqualified. Uh, he couldn't control his emotion. No one is blaming him for that, but EC3, one way or the other, he's got to get what he's coming when it comes to Tom Latimer if he talked nasty about his wife. Now, our next match is the NWA World Tag Team titles. This was supposed to be a home field advantage for the Hawks RE, Luke and PJ, father and son, to take on La Rebellion, Mecha Wolf, and Bestia 66, along with Damien 666. There was a lot of moving parts when it comes to the Miz, trying to ensure that it stays in their favor, but however, it did not do so well. It was, of course, the mist onto Luke Hawks in order to pick up the win, but it ended that way. But yeah, real disappointing. But we'll see what happens then. Now our semi main event, we have the NWA Women's Championship. We got Kylie King and Chelsea Green and what's her name, Camille. Now keep in mind, Camille is the one person nobody wants to see her win the belt, but it took a bit of a great moment to them to happen that way. But it took Camille to do a full spear onto what's her name, on Chelsea Green, to ensure that belt stays right where it is. But we'll see what happens then. Now we do get a veteran come in, a legend named Bobby Fulton. I don't know who he is, but he did a pretty good job what he was doing outside. Then we do get an interview with Zion. As you know, Zion is very pumped knowing that he won, that he retained the title, as we got a brand new NWA World Television title. All they need is Tyrus. So basically, he thanked his father for that. Now our main event is the NWA World Heavyweight title between Matt Cardona, Tyrus, and Trevor Murdoch. Now this was a match that there's going to be a lot of moving parts. But of course, I had that distinct feeling that Chelsea Green was going to show up to help her man to ensure he wins the match. Frankly, it did not go exactly to plan because, Chelsea Green's distraction did work, but it was not effective. But it took at least the tongue and death grip by Tyrus, onto Trevor Murdoch to pick up the win. And as you know, all three members of Austin Mania Sports Management win the titles. We have Zion, who retained his National Heavyweight Championship. We got a brand new World Television title, and of course, the NWA World Heavyweight title. So I think it was a pretty good show. I liked it, but I'm hearing some fans are not too thrilled with Tyrus being the champion. But I feel I'm going to want to talk about this on my podcast on Thursday. I like to put out some pros and cons on that. I think that's a good topic to do. So if you guys have me on the podcast, then you know what I'm talking about. So if you guys don't know what I mean, go check it out. So look for me, DWZ podcast with J-Rod, and we'll be fine. And I think that's pretty much it. So I believe it's time to move on with news updates. Okay, first things first, I want to congratulate on the newlyweds, Deonna Purrazzo and Steve Maclin, currently from Impact Wrestling. They just got married, so congratulations, guys. So hope you guys are enjoying your honeymoon, or we'll see you back wrestling sooner than we think. Now, Prestige Wrestling has announced for their upcoming event in January, Vendetta, on the 21st of January. The ace of Prestige Wrestling, Sonico, will make his return. Personally, I would like to see him take on Alan Angels, who claims that he is the new ace of Prestige Wrestling. That is something we need to talk about. English Twitter page of DDT, Dramatic DDT, revealed that Arisu Tokyo Pro Wrestling star Arisu Endo will be getting a brand new entrance song, and that will be on the 27th of November. I'm kind of curious how this one's going to play. All Japan Pro Wrestling was announced. This was made by Pro Wrestling Martial Arts DX. That All Japan will be doing a show on Christmas Day at Korakuen Hall. We're going to have participation from several wrestlers from New Japan Pro Wrestling, such as Taichi, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Sonata, and of course Bushi. I'm kind of excited that. But however, a match was really booked on this particular day for All Japan. We have Suwama teaming up with members of Ozaki Gun, Maya Yuhiki, and Mayu Omisaki, while they take on Suji Ichikawa along with the of Team 200 kilograms, Chihiro Hashimoto and Yu. I think that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. So I'm looking forward to it. Sealing announced for December 28th in Korakuen Hall. We're going to have the Beyond the Sea Championship on the line. We got, of course, Lady Destroy and our current champion, Hiroyo Matsumoto, will be putting the title on the line against the former champion, Arisa Nakajima. If you guys remember, it was Hiroyo Matsumoto who injured her, and now we could see something like this in full circle. They're going to go. I'm kind of curious on this particular match, and hope everybody does. Now, finally, we have two updates coming from Stardom. The first one, it was announced that members of Stardom will have a match in Tokyo Comic Con on the 25th of November. Kind of interesting. There's going to be Queen's Quest consistent of Utami Hayashida and Azumi and Lady C to take on stars Koguma, Azuki, and Sayaida. So that's a very interesting. Now, if you guys remember on my last episode where I did review on the news updates, as you know, members of Odatai consisting of Natsuko Tora and Saki Kashima invaded Surumi Natsu's Natsu Bar, in order to, let's say there's some unresolved issues. Now it's been told for the upcoming Showcase event, Showcase 3, which will take place on the 26th of November. We're going to have Azuki team up with her former teammate, also a former member of Odatai, taking on Surumi Natsu to take on the current members of Odatai, Natsuko Tora and Saki Kashima. This is going to be a very interesting match. Somebody probably say, will Natsu be a member of Stars? I highly doubt that because there's no way that's going to happen. Natsu's a freelancer, so she's happy where she's at, and not to mention, she runs a bar. So we'll see what happens then. I think that's pretty much it what we have now for our news updates. It's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as I mentioned, ChocoPro in the UK. I'm kind of excited for it. We do got some interesting events that came out today, which is Wrestling Revolver, GCW, and Black Label Pro. A lot of wrestling for this weekend. As you know, as we speak, we have Stardom taking place. Probably won't see that later on in the week until watchprowrestling.org actually uploads it. I don't have Stardom World yet, but I'm considering possibly subscribing to it. I'm still debating on that. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So I'll wing it for the next episode. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.